Hey guys, it's Ashley and welcome back to Camp Half-Blood. Today we are going to begin my reading vlog for the Heroes of Olympus with the one, the only, the Lost Hero. It's finally beginning. I'm so sorry to have kept you guys waiting for so long, but I'm finally starting to reread this series and it's everything that I wanted and more. If you're new here, hi, hello, I'm Ashley and I love Riordan's books. Specifically, my favorite is the Heroes of Olympus. I have been making reading vlogs where I reread all of these series and just share all of my emotional feelings and thoughts with you guys, so I'll leave as many as I can find and remember that I made linked down below if you're interested. But today we're going to be starting my rereading vlog for the Heroes of Olympus with the first book in the series, The Lost Hero, and I am splitting this into 5 different parts for each of the 5 books because these books are chunky and I'm gonna have a lot to say. And the other thing that I want to mention just before I dive into this book, because I did actually start it last night and have a couple of things I want to talk about already, is spoilers. What I usually do in my vlogs, if you've been here before, is before I spoil something, I will put a picture of the cover in one of the corners down here so that if you're watching the video and you haven't read the book yet, you can mute until that cover goes away in the corner and then you won't be spoiled. The only problem is that I'm probably going to be talking about things that foreshadow what happens in the rest of the series, which then would end up spoiling the other books, which also wouldn't be an issue if I remembered exactly which details and events happen in each book. You know what I mean? I think the way that I'm going to do it is try to stick to just spoilers for the book that I'm currently on, and obviously whatever book came before that. So for instance, if you have not read the Percy Jackson series, you probably don't want to watch these videos without muting during the spoilers, because I will obviously be spoiling that series because this one comes after it in the timeline. But I'm going to try to stick to spoilers that only spoil the book that I'm currently on, and if I happen to be talking about anything that might spoil something in the series, I will let it be known in the video before I do that. The only promise that I can make is that I will do my best to make sure that those who have not read the series are not spoiled, and those who have a great time with me. So let's get started after that very long intro that was really unnecessary. I just have to tell you, I am so happy to be back in this world. I really don't know why I waited so long to reread the series, because as soon as I opened the book and as soon as I read the first page last night, I was like, oh my god, I'm back. Like, just the way that Riordan starts his books is so funny to me. Even before he got electrocuted, Jason was having a rotten day. That very first scene where Jason wakes up on the bus and has no idea where he is, who he is, what's going on, is one of the most memorable scenes for me in this series, because it's what kicked it off, it's what started it all, and I just remember reading it for the first time and being like, who the heck is this boy that I have never met before, and where is Percy? But of course, throughout the course of this book and throughout the course of the series, I, and hopefully everybody else, ends up loving Jason, Piper, and Leo, so definitely appreciate them being introduced in this first book before we get to find out what happened to Percy, because yes, Percy is missing. That is the big question at the beginning of the series, is what the heck is going on? Who the heck is this guy named Jason who seems to know a lot about Roman mythology yet nothing about Greek mythology? And also, where the heck is Percy? That's like the whole question. The way that this series starts, and you don't know anything, and by the end of the book you're like, oh my god, he did not just do that. And then the second book starts and you're like, damn, he did just do that. Took me for a wild ride the first time I read, but I digress. So yeah, I think it's safe to say that I love this book in particular, The Lost Hero. I really love, even though it does follow 3 different characters, we do get a lot of appearances from other characters like Annabeth, who arrives at the end of the 1st or 2nd chapter, I think. Will, Solace, I've already seen in the book so far, and I'm only on chapter 5. But I want to talk more so about these characters because I just love them so much. I love them. Even Jason, who I feel like it's inevitable that I will make fun of him at least a little bit as the series goes on. I love them so much. Piper and Leo are just some of the best characters to me. Piper, who is half Cherokee and half white, who is bullied because of that in her school. Her father is a movie star, but she doesn't want anybody to know because, you know, God forbid people think that she's rich and all that, but she's also apparently a kleptomaniac, or at least that's how she, you know, describes herself, because she can just walk up to a BMW salesman and go, give me that car, and he's like, okay, here are the keys. And then of course you have my favorite, Leo. Leo is obviously, if you know me and you have seen my videos before, Leo is my absolute favorite in the first book at least. As the series goes on, I definitely still hold Leo really close to my heart, but all of the other characters sort of have a place there too. But Leo is just one of my favorites. I don't know how to explain other than this this description that I made sure to mark off so that I could read it to you guys in this video. Leo looked like a Latino Santa's elf with curly black hair, pointy ears, a cheerful babyish face, and a mischievous smile that told you right away this guy should not be trusted around matches or sharp objects. His long, nimble fingers wouldn't stop moving, drumming on the seat, sweeping his hair behind his ears, fiddling with the buttons of his army fatigue jacket. Either the kid was naturally hyper or he was hopped up on enough sugar and caffeine to give a heart attack to a water buffalo. I love him so much. He's my baby. I love him. He's the best. I also marked off another quote that he said in this book so far, and like I said, I'm only on page like 50, so I already have a bunch of things marked off that I wanted to talk about. Just this one scene when they first get to shore at Camp Half-Blood and Leo is claimed by Hephaestus, and Jason goes, "That's the symbol of Vulcan, isn't it?" And Annabeth's like, "Jason, how did you know that?" And he goes, "I don't know." And Leo goes, "Vulcan? I don't even like Star Trek." I also just want to point out the part where they are shit-talking Hera. I'm here for this, and if you've read this series, then you know what I'm talking about. And yeah, I don't know if there's really anything else that I need to say in this, you know, introductory clip right here. Like I said, I'm only about 50 pages into the book again, and it's just, it's everything that I wanted. I also stopped on a Leo chapter, which I feel like once I read Leo's chapters, I will have a lot more to say in this vlog. But at this moment in time, I'm just, you know, kind of like waiting for all of the things that I know are going to happen. It's really hard when you're rereading a story and you're just like really looking forward to certain things happening, and you have to read through all of the, you know, explanation and the description and all of that just to get to it. So that's what I'm really hoping for at this point. I'm just gonna sort of like breeze through everything that I know and get to the parts that I'm like really excited about so I can share them with you. But yeah, I feel like you can tell how much I love this series and how much I love this story. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop here, and we'll pick up again once I get to another really exciting part. But at this point, we've got some secrets that haven't been uncovered yet. We still don't know where Percy is. We don't know who Jason is. We don't know all of these things. Leo and Piper haven't discovered their abilities yet, and I don't know. I'm just really looking forward to all of it. That's all I can say. Okay, I am becoming seriously unhinged reading this book because everything is just coming back to me, and it's the best experience. Oh my god. I feel like a child again reading these books for the first time, being like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, except this time I know it's gonna happen, and it's just even better. Let me put this down really quick so that I can talk with my hands because we have some things to discuss. So I literally have not been reading for more than like 30 minutes. I'm only on page 118, so I really didn't make it very far, you know? But I wanted to come on here because we had a Leo chapter, we had Jason chapters, and now I'm on Piper chapters. But I want to go back to the Leo chapters because the Leo chapters are everything to me. I love him so much. He is just the best. I can't explain. First of all, I wanted to make a mention that I didn't even realize on page 67, the very first Leo chapter in the entire story, Leo says Festus. Will goes, usually we don't call the gods by their Roman names. The original names are in Greek. Your dad is Hephaestus. And Leo goes, Festus? Sounds like the god of cowboys. And I'm like, ah! It's foreshadowing for Festus, the dragon. I love everything. I forgot all of his backstory. It's all coming back to me as I'm reading, and I'm still confused because I do forget bits and pieces of it, but it's just, it's all coming back. And I can't, I don't have words. I'm sorry, this vlog is just going to be completely incoherent at this point. I also just want to say all of the mentions of Charles Beckendorf from the Percy Jackson series are just breaking my heart. Beckendorf did not need to go that way, but he did, and it is what it is, but it's just like so sad to remember. But every time that Leo is like, you know, oh, he's the class clown because, you know, humor keeps the pain away, or like it keeps the bullies from attacking him. His motto is keep moving so that the sadness doesn't catch up. And I'm like, oh my god. I totally forgot the like deep emotional trauma that Leo was dealing with at the beginning of this story, because the only thing that I ever remember about him is how like funny and ridiculous he is, and that's what I love about him. But I love how like how much he's dealing with, and like okay, I'm gonna try to get myself together so I can get through the rest of this video or this clip without, you know, bursting into giggles at this point. I also marked off page 81 because I really love this little thing that Nisa said when Leo was talking about the dragon and the people who are resistant to fire and stuff like that. Well, when a child of Hephaestus like that appears, it usually means something catastrophic is about to happen, and we don't need any more catastrophes. And I'm just like, y'all have no idea. And Leo is just like, y'all have no idea. Because at the end of the chapter, oh my god, I totally forgot that this happened. And as soon as I read the end of the chapter where he like held his hand out and like the flame appeared, I'm just like, what did I say about not giggling? That wasn't gonna happen. Then we get to Jason chapters, and Jason is talking to Chiron, and I love when Chiron looks at him and he's like, you should be dead. The best, most like tension-filled moment. Oh my god. But every little bit and piece that we get that basically is leading into the fact that Jason is the son of Jupiter, who is a Roman god. Yeah, there's just so much foreshadowing, so much like, you know, little snippets and little, you know, hints and secrets that they're throwing out at you until you finally understand it. I also totally forgot the fact that Chiron had been sworn to secrecy about the other camp. Chiron took an oath with somebody else, I think, where he vowed never to speak of the existence of the other camp, because the moments where Jason is like, every molecule in his body is screaming that he's on enemy ground. I'm like, yes, that's because you are. Because the Greek and Roman demigods are supposed to be at war with one another, but they don't know the other exists because they were always fighting and at war, and so it's like, you are on enemy ground. Why am I like this right now? I'm just like, every molecule in my body is buzzing with anticipation over what's gonna happen in this series. But yeah, Chiron swore an oath to secrecy, and of course Annabeth feels betrayed because she's like, you know, you've never not helped before. He's like, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Like, you're on your own, guys. And I'm like, oh god. Oh, I remember this so much. But I guess I should talk about Piper a little bit because I'm on her chapters right now, and I totally forgot about the whole, you know, Piper thinks she's gonna have to betray everybody because the giant who keeps talking to her in her dreams has her father and is holding him hostage, and if she doesn't do what he says, then he's going to kill him, and I'm just like, who forgot any of that was gonna happen. But I also love all of the, like, you know, flashbacks and dreams that she's getting about her father, because I love learning more about her dad, her family, and their like half Cherokee ancestry. I really love the way that Rick Riordan has like interwoven all of these characters' backgrounds into the story, because even Leo's background with his tia Kalida? Wasn't that just Hera? Am I like, wasn't that just Hera? But anyway, you go into a lot of Leo's Latino background, you go into a lot of Piper's, you know, Cherokee background, and it's just like, I love it. And even in the next book and the like series as it goes on, you go into like Hazel and Frank's backgrounds and ethnicities and heritages. So it's like, I love it. So yeah, at this point, I am just hoping to get to the part where Leo finds Festus and fixes him, and everybody's like, oh, you're the one we've been waiting for, because I love Leo. Because I think the scene that I'm at now with the bonfire, where Piper, I think, is going to get claimed. But the scene at the bonfire is when they get their like prophecy kind of thing, and then they have to go on their quest, and then Leo fixes Festus and whatnot, and then they go off on their quest with Festus. So I'm just waiting for that to happen so that we can get into like Act 2, where all the action begins, and we can find Coach Hedge again, because I totally forgot to mention anything about Coach Hedge. Oh my god, I love him so much. I love him. Knowing what I know now about the end of this series and then the Trials of Apollo, and like knowing where these characters end up, it just makes me appreciate their beginnings that much more. Anyway, okay, I've talked for 11 minutes now in this clip. I swear to god, this vlog is already 20 minutes long, and I'm only on page 115, so we're gonna stop. We're gonna keep reading. We will update you later. So I just got to chapter 17. I am on a Leo chapter currently, page 191, and we have officially begun the quest, and I'm so excited for this. The whole like Jason thing being related to Talia, the whole like revelation that his last name is Grace, the whole dream that he had with Lupa the wolf that made that joke that was like, you're our saving grace as always. I'm like, I love it. Yet despite the major role that Jason plays in this story and in the series as a whole, and the whole reasoning behind why his memories are gone and why he's in this camp where he feels like he doesn't belong, Jason is my least favorite of the trio in this story just because he has amnesia, so there's only so much that you can learn about him, whereas with Piper and Leo you're getting so much characterization, so much, you know, background, so much, I don't know, just like the way that they act and the way that they talk and the choices that they make, it just feels so right for their characters, whereas Jason is still like struggling to find out who he is and where he belongs, and so I just really feel so much closer to Piper and Leo, but obviously as the story goes on, Jason's gonna get his memories back, we're gonna realize what's happening, so I'm eager for that to happen. But in any case, I forgot how much of a grade A, excuse my language, bitch Drew is in the beginning of this story. Oh my god. So Drew, if you don't remember or weren't aware, is the current head counselor of the Aphrodite cabin. To be honest, I don't remember exactly what the title is, but when Selena Beauregard died in the Percy Jackson series, she ended up taking over because she was the second oldest and she can charm speak, and she is just a grade A bitch. Like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it here. She is awful, and I know that she's only like 16, so I feel bad for saying this, but she's just mean. And there's no reason to be mean. Feel bad for saying that, but also don't feel bad for saying that. I don't know if I said this in the last clip already, but Leo found Festus. He found Festus, and then he found Bunker 9, and he hasn't told anybody about his abilities or anything like that. I vividly remember, though, this scene where Festus shoots his fire, like breathes fire, and it like, you know, engulfs Leo in flames, and he doesn't burn, and everybody's like, but did that actually happen? Or am I just imagining that it happened? I don't remember. Oh, we also got Leo's backstory, which again, like I said before, I totally forgot happened. I totally forgot anything about Hera, which I was right. She wasn't an ant, she was Hera. When Hera like put him in the flames as a baby, like he was sleeping in a fireplace or whatever, and then like his mother dying and like all of the things that happened with that, and like the foster homes and the running away. Leo, my baby, I'm so sorry for your childhood, your lost childhood and your lost mother, and I'm so sorry, but I still love him so much. He just puts on a brave face, and he, you know, uses sarcasm and humor as a defense, and I love him, and I want to, you know, clutch him close to my chest and cherish him and all of the things. So yeah, with all of that being said, we just started the quest. Leo and Piper and Jason are on Festus, and they are riding toward Quebec. We're gonna go find this, you know, seasonal wind god and ask him about the venti spirit things to try to find Coach Hedge, but also, Coach Hedge is definitely not their priority here. And personally, I think that they should prioritize saving Coach Hedge over saving Hera any day. Like, if you had a choice between saving Coach Hedge and saving the goddess of marriage, who's just a grade A, again, I'm gonna say this bitch, why would you not choose Coach Hedge? I just think it's the obvious choice here, and I don't even care that saving Hera is part of the quest, and that if they don't save Hera, then Gaia is going to take over, and the whole series would not have existed. I still think they should have prioritized saving Coach Hedge, instead of him just being sort of like a, oopsie daisy, we found him on the way, you know? Coach Hedge deserves better. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyway, yeah, okay, I'm gonna keep reading now. I am really flying through this story. I'm 200 pages in already. I just started this today, last night, I don't know. I could read a whole lot more, but I always want to like stop and vlog before I forget, so I'm gonna keep reading. We'll see what happens, even though I already know what happens. But I'm really looking forward to certain parts of the story. Like, I'm pretty sure King Midas is a part of this story in The Lost Hero, right? Like, they're in Nevada, or they go back to Nevada, or they end up somehow in Omaha, I'm pretty sure. I don't know why that's a detail that really stuck out to me the first time that I read this book, but it did. I'm pretty sure they go back to Omaha and they find King Midas and his son or something. Sorry, I'm looking at my hair right now. Is this when Lyterces comes in, or is this in a different part of the story? I'm pretty sure this is the part that he comes in and then he makes like a reappearance in the Mark of Athena or something. I don't know. I'm getting off track and I am starting to talk about the rest of the series now. So we're gonna go keep reading and I will update you when I experience more feelings, which will probably be soon. Okay, sorry for the odd like side lighting happening here, but we're gonna deal with that because I am halfway through The Lost Hero, or just about halfway through. I'm like literally right by the midpoint, and things are getting so good. The only thing that I'm frustrated with right now is the fact that, like I said before, I know what's gonna happen and it's just a matter of waiting till the characters know what's going to happen. But other than that, the story is just as good as I remember. So they made it to Quebec and they talked to Boreas, if that's his name, and he did the whole like switching from Greek to Roman or whatever, and I really liked that because again, it's just another one of those hints that like, yes, there are Roman demigods, like you guys should just understand that right now, you know? Crash landed in Detroit and we got the first scene out of many to come in which Jason is unconscious. Like I said, I haven't reread these books in such a long time, but I'm pretty sure that that's just like a running joke that a lot of people who love this series have, so I'm gonna keep track. This is the first fight scene in which Jason has passed out. But regardless, the scene that I was talking about earlier on in this vlog where I said, oh, I thought that Festus, you know, scorches Leo and he, you know, bursts into flames but he doesn't die and everybody's like, and Leo is like, haha. I still feel like that is a scene that happens toward the end of the story, if I'm not mistaken, but we did get the scene with the Cyclops, like Cyclopes, the scene where she tried to burn him to the ground and he was still standing and Piper was like, and Leo was like, haha. So I'm not sure if I am remembering a second scene where that happens with Festus or if that was the scene that I was recalling, but either way we got it and it was so great. I love when a character, like this is gonna happen to Piper later on too, where they have this belief throughout the story that like, oh, I need to keep this secret from my friends because they're not gonna look at me the same way afterward. When in reality, if you were just communicative and you talked and you were honest from the get-go, you wouldn't have to worry about these secrets dragging you down the whole time. You would be able to, you know, be free from distraction and be able to go onto these quests without any worries. So yeah. Love those moments where the clarity finally dawns on them and they're like, oh yes, I guess I could trust my friends after all. So I forget where they go after this in the story, so I'm just gonna keep reading and see what happens. I am 90% sure that they end up in Omaha at some point, but right now they're in Detroit, and Detroit is very far away from Omaha. If you're not familiar with the United States geography, I am pretty sure that Detroit is nowhere near Omaha. So I don't know if I'm remembering incorrectly. Do they ever end up in Omaha in this book? I don't know. I don't know why my brain is dead set on Omaha. Maybe it's just because it's like a really fun word to say. I don't know, man. We're gonna find out. Okay guys, so the air conditioner that's right outside my room is kind of loud right now, so just ignore that buzzing in the background. But wanted to come on because I am 3/4 of the way through, 2/3 of the way through. I don't know how you want to measure that, but I'm a decent ways through, and we just met Talia, who I love and adore to pieces. I love her so much. So I wanted to come on and update because we had a big moment, obviously. I just want to point out that my favorite moment in the Jason Talia meetup is when Talia grabs his face and she's like, you have the scar still from when you tried to eat a stapler when you were 2. And Coach Hedge goes, staplers. Good source of iron. I'm gonna start a petition so that Coach Hedge can get more of a fan base than he does now. I feel like he's super underrated. Nobody takes him seriously. Everybody just kind of like, you know, blows over his, you know, remarks, and then when he does say something intelligent, everybody's like so shocked by it. I love Coach Hedge with everything in me. He is my favorite, and where am I going with this? So anyways, I'm gonna start the petition, protect Coach Hedge at all costs in 2021, even though the series was finished like years and years ago. The sequel series has been finished since last year, but still, we're gonna protect Coach Hedge at all costs. This is life or death here. Life or death. Anyway though, I also wanted to say that I was not crazy. We are in Omaha, Nebraska. I was so worried that I was going crazy thinking that any part of this story took place in Omaha, and yet we woke up after whatever the heck happened, and we were in Omaha where we met King Midas and Laterces, I don't know how you say it, but we met Cornhusker. That's what I know him as. So I wasn't crazy. That moment definitely stood out in my mind the first and second time that I read the series, because this is my 3rd time rereading this. And also there have just been so many references to what is going to happen in the future. I don't understand how these kids are not understanding what's going on. That conversation with Hephaestus and Leo, I forgot that that was a thing. I absolutely loved it. I think that Hephaestus, even though he's still a god and still is kind of like ignorant and stuff, I feel like he's one of the more down-to-earth gods. He was in a way sort of like that out-of-touch father to Leo in that conversation, which I really liked. He was trying to be helpful as much as he could, but also he wasn't trying to be all like high and mighty and that kind of thing. I like him. I feel like a lot of it has to do with the fact that he feels uncomfortable around organic life forms, which I love because same. Piper also finally told the group about her sort of, you know, will she betray them, won't she betray them, which I really loved. I'm just really glad that she was able to open up, and now I forgot how they end up saving both Tristan McLean and Hera, but it gets done, I'm pretty sure, so I guess I'll find that out at some point. But anyway, it just continues to blow my mind the way that they manage to skirt around the subjects that the other camp exists, and instead of being like, huh, there are other people who speak Latin and wear purple shirts, and Jason is somehow related to the Roman god of Zeus, Jupiter, and we know that other people like him exist, so is somebody just kidnapping children and raising them and setting them off into the what? Like what? Wouldn't the most logical explanation to that be, well, there's a camp for Greek heroes. What if there's a camp for Roman heroes? But yeah, I think I'm just gonna spend tonight trying to get through as much of this as I possibly can. I do have somewhere to be at 10 a.m. tomorrow, and I have not been waking up at the earliest time recently, so I don't know what time I'm going to end up going to bed. I don't know whether I'm gonna finish the whole thing tonight. We will see. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I have been very careful to skirt around a particular subject that revolves around a particular character in this story that pertains to another book in the future. I'm really trying hard not to spoil anything here. So if you've read, I'm just gonna say, if you've read all of Rick Riordan's work that has to do with the Greek and Roman heroes, any of those series, then you might know what I'm talking about. I'm doing my best to skirt around it. I promise you, the reason that I'm not God, it's so hard to say this without spoiling. I'm not trying to not talk about that or to bring it up because it's still it still haunts me, but at the same time I don't want to spoil. So at some point soon I will talk about it, but not in this book. I need some time. I need some time to process and to mull over the past and, you know, naive Ashley who thought that things would be okay, and then we will discuss. But yeah, so there are two things and two things only that I am here for currently in this book. The first of which is Leo Valdez, my baby, my child. The second of which is Coach Hedge, protector of all that is mighty and eater of staplers. And yeah. If you don't agree with me on that, then by all means, it's your loss. Okay, I just finished the book, and before we get into any of the things that I want to talk about, because there are dozens of things that I want to talk about, first I just want to say, yes, I am outside. We have this tiki hut outside. I don't remember if I've ever vlogged out here before. Also, our pool, the level is really low, so you're gonna hear like the water trickling of the pump happening. Just ignore it is what I'm trying to say. But I finished this book and I forgot, oh my god, I forgot how crazy Rick Riordan's cliffhangers were at the end of each of these books. Oh my god. Like if you, every time I get to the end of this book and I read the very last line, I start bursting into a fit of giggles. I'm like, oh my god. I'm gonna read this because I can't continue talking until I've already said this out loud. An exchange goes two ways, Jason said. When I got here, my memory was wiped. I didn't know who I was or where I belonged. Fortunately, you guys took me in and I found a new home. I know you're not my enemy. The Roman camp, they're not so friendly. You prove your worth quickly or you don't survive. They may not be so nice to him, and if they learn where he comes from, he's going to be in serious trouble. Him? Leo said. Who are you talking about? My boyfriend, Annabeth said grimly. He disappeared around the same time Jason appeared. If Jason came to Camp Half-Blood, exactly, Jason agreed. Percy Jackson is at the other camp, and he probably doesn't even remember who he is. The first time that I read that when I was younger, I about had a heart attack. At that point, I'm pretty sure that the first 3 books in this series were already out by the time I got to this one, I think. I don't know why I read it so late. I just remember reading that and literally wanting to just like throw the book against the wall. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? So immediately I went out and bought the next one, as you do. Oh my god. Just like the, knowing that Percy, my Percy, has had his memory wiped and has been thrown into this warlike camp, and then also the like tension throughout this entire book of them not coming to terms with what has actually happened until this point. I can't right now. I can't. Oh my god. Wow, also I totally forgot to say my hair is completely different than it was in the last clip because I got it done today. I guess I should have said that early on in this clip. I don't remember the exact scene that I was at the last time that I talked to you. Was Talia and Jason meeting for the first time? Was that what was happening? So they ended up going to the mountain, they saved Piper's father, they saved Hera, all of that kind of stuff. Speaking of Hera, my favorite line in this entire book, it's so funny to me. I don't know why this is so funny, but my favorite line in this whole book is when Hera is talking to Talia and they're like, you know, bickering back and forth. Talia gripped her brother's hand. "How do you feel?" "Hot," he muttered. "Mouth is dry, and I saw something really terrible." "That was Hera," Talia grumbled. "Her Majesty, the loose cannon." Anyway, yeah, I love these characters so much. I love the way that Rick Riordan is able to have such a serious story, replaying a lot of the different Greek myths and retelling them, while also having characters that are just, you know, so modern and just stay so true to themselves, and you just can't help but root for them. I love this so much. Oh my god. And I know that this is only gonna get better in the next book when we see Percy again and when we meet Hazel and Frank. The one scene that I remember the most out of that whole book is that very first scene when Percy arrives at the camp. I remember that vividly. So I'm really excited to read and to remember what happens in the rest of the book, because to be honest, I don't remember anything after that. And of course, Raina. I love Raina, and I totally forgot about her whole plot line in this series, so I'm really excited to read about her again. I love her so much. There was nothing really more that I wanted to say about this story except for this one scene toward the end. Everything has happened, and Jason is talking to Hera in cabin 1. But Hera is Juno because that's who Jason knows her as, and so they're talking, and Hera / Juno is giving him this whole like spiel about like what is going to happen in the future. So I really like this like paragraph that she says, because it is just like so momentous. It's like, you know, that moment in the movie when everything is sort of like realized and that it all, you know, culminates into this one big like, this is the grand mission and this is what we're here for and this is what we were put here to do, you know? That's what this feels like. So I just want to like end on this because I absolutely love it, and that's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna go ahead and read it now. "They divided us so we don't kill each other," Jason said. "That seems like a pretty good reason. The prophecy demands that we change. The giants will rise. Each can only be killed by a god and demigod working together. Those demigods must be the 7 greatest of the age. As it stands, they are divided between 2 places. If we remain divided, we cannot win. Gaia is counting on this. You must unite the heroes of Olympus and sail together to meet the giants on the ancient battlegrounds of Greece. Only then will the gods be convinced to join you. It will be the most dangerous quest, the most important voyage ever attempted by the children of the gods." Gotta unite the heroes of Olympus, bitch! So with that being said, we close this chapter of the Heroes of Olympus and we get prepared to read about Percy. Not that I don't like Jason, I love Jason, but Percy though. And obviously more Leo, and obviously Hazel and Frank and Raina. I mean, lots of other things to explore in this story. Oh, Coach Hedge. Oh, Coach Hedge, where did he end up? So I totally forgot that Melly the Aura, was in this book. This is where she was introduced because she does play a little bit of a role like in later books and stuff. So totally forgot that that's where she was introduced. But I love them to death. Obviously, I've already said my petition for give Gleason Hedge a greater fan base in 2021 that I am starting officially in this video, but not officially anywhere else. I love him. Even though he tends to pass out or get distracted more so in a battle than Jason does, I still think that they fight for the title of who can pass out in more battles and leave everybody else to do the work for them. I think that's everything that I want to say. Obviously, like I said before, I did not touch on absolutely everything, so if there's a scene in this book that I did not talk about, definitely leave it down below. Let's talk about this book together. I love this series, but I think that is going to be everything for this video. So if you want to follow me on any of my socials, all my handles are in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching, and without further ado, let's go to Camp Jupiter. Bye!